What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dominic Rich, and in today's video I'll be recapping the UEFA Champions League fixtures that were played on Wednesday, October the 23rd. So guys, please do me a favor, grab a cup of your favorite beverage, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. In part 1 of my match day 3 recap, I covered the fixtures that were played from groups A to D, which means that in this video I'll be covering the matches that were played from groups E all the way to group H. For those of you guys who are new around here, I have a very simple way of doing things. I start with each group, I talk about each games, give my thoughts, give the results, and whatnot, and maybe I'll make a few predictions here and there. So with that said, let's start with Group E. In Group E, we had matches between Slavia Prague and Barcelona, and another one between Inter Milan and Borussia Dortmund. Slavia Prague, the team from Czech Republic, took on the mighty Barcelona in a game which ended 2-1 in favor of the Blaugrana. Despite Barcelona picking up the 3 points, they were made to grind out this result. When I say that, I mean Slavia Prague had 24 shots at goal with 9 on target, which means that Ter Stegen was kept busy throughout the game. Barcelona themselves could only muster up 13 shots at goal with 7 of those shots on target. The possession was equally shared, with Barcelona having 52%, Slavia Prague 48%. So despite playing arguably one of the best teams in the world with the best player in the world, Slavia Prague fought well. Barcelona's first goal came early in the 3rd minute. There was a giveaway by the Slavia Prague player, pounced on by Lionel Messi when he linked up brilliantly with Arthur, who returned the favor, and Messi did the rest. Despite going 1-0 down early in the game, Slavia Prague fought back well and forced 2 huge saves out of Ter Stegen. With Barcelona finding it hard to deal with Slavia Prague's grittiness and tenacity, they conceded in the 50th minute. It was a very brilliant breakaway goal put away by their left back Boril. And I know I might be saying that name wrong, but I'm not from the Czech Republic, so you can't really be too hard on your boy. A little after equalizing, Slavia Prague went behind once again, a goal which will ultimately be the final goal of the game. This strike came courtesy of an own goal by Olajinka, but one must give Luis Suarez a lot of credit for not giving up on that play. This was a very well balanced and open game between a tiny team from the Czech Republic and a giant from Catalonia. In the final minute of the game, Slavia Prague did get a beautiful chance to equalize, but they put it wide. My man of the match has to be Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. If it wasn't for his brilliance, Barcelona would have been embarrassed on the day. Because I mean, you can't give it to Suarez. He had chances which he did not put away. Messi had his chances to score, as well as Frankie de Jong. So on this day, the goalkeepers were the unsung heroes. Lionel Messi also claimed the record for becoming the first ever player to score in 15 consecutive UEFA Champions League seasons, from 2005-06 all the way to the 2019-20. So round of applause to the little maestro, man. He is the GOAT. With this loss, Slavia Praha stay at the bottom of the table on 1 point, but they shouldn't keep their heads down because they have performed well in all 3 matches so far. They have really put up a good fight. As for Barcelona, they're currently on top the group on 7 points, and I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that Barcelona has the look of a team that can go all the way to the final this season and win the whole thing? I know some of you guys are going to say, once Lionel Messi is there, it's definitely possible. But without Lionel Messi in this team, I don't think Barcelona will get very far. With that said, let's move on to 2 teams who a lot of people think can get very far in this tournament. But believe it or not, only one of these teams are going to advance. Inter Milan versus Borussia Dortmund. And according to my predictions, I think it's going to be Inter Milan, who came out 2-0 victors on the day. Inter's first goal came in the 22nd minute, scored by Lautaro Martinez and brilliantly set up by defender Stefan de Vrij. It was a brilliantly lofted pass that picked out the well-timed run of Lautaro Martinez, who caught the Dortmund defender sleeping. Dortmund did get their chances to equalize, but failed to punish Inter Milan. I could remember when Jadon Sancho wiggled himself through the Inter defense, got a shot off at a tight angle, which was brilliantly saved by Handanovic. That ball was going in, so you definitely got to give credit to the goalkeeper. Every time I think about Handanovic, I think about handling and him saving the ball like using his hand. You know, it's kind of weird, but Handanovic, he definitely was destined to be a goalkeeper. Handanovic was in the thick of things once again when he pulled off a brilliant save from a deflected Julian Brandt shot. So with Borussia Dortmund relentlessly seeking an equalizer, Antonio Conte picked the right time to work his magic. He took off one of his struggling forwards, Romelu Lukaku, and brought on the 17-year-old forward, Sebastiano Esposito. And that substitution will later prove to be a masterstroke from Antonio Conte. With Esposito in the thick of things right away, he was released on the break and brought down in the box by Mats Hummels. The referee didn't hesitate to point to the spot, and up stepped Lautaro Martinez to attempt to make it 2. But his penalty effort was brilliantly saved by Roman Bürki, and the rebound was fluffed by Esposito. With that brilliant save, Dortmund stayed in the game, and they had a few more chances to equalize but failed to do so. And in their continuous efforts to score that vital goal, they were caught on the break once again. This time, it was a brilliant through ball by Marcelo Brozovic, and Kandreva, who got on the end, dispatched it brilliantly and celebrated like it was his first ever goal in the UEFA Champions League. Like, he ran around the field, he took off his jersey, he waved it in the air, and he just could feel the breeze passing through his body. So with that big 3 points, Inter Milan goes second in the group on 4 points. As for Borussia Dortmund, they're currently third in the group on 4 points with an inferior goal difference to Inter Milan. Guys, when I made my predictions for Group E, I predicted Barcelona and Inter Milan to make it through. I did not predict Borussia Dortmund to get through to the knockouts. These guys are setups. They made a lot of big signings during the summer. They always do well in the Bundesliga up until it gets to crunch time, and then they fall off. And even in the Champions League, they always dazzle and then they fizzle. So Dortmund is a team I will never ever put my money on. So now let's move on to Group F, where we had a fixture between Genk and Liverpool and another between Red Bull Salzburg and Napoli. Let's first start with the match between Genk and Liverpool, where the Reds came out 4-1 winners. Well, I mean, it was an Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain show. He scored early in the second minute when he was brilliantly set up by Fabinho. The Genk defenders failed to close him down, and with the little space he had, he finished brilliantly. And this must do a world of good to the young man's confidence, because after that horrific injury, he spent quite a bit of time on the sidelines and he had to watch them do all kind of wondrous things. So it's good to see him back in the thick of things and scoring goals for Liverpool. And just to note, he was a former Arsenal player as well. So Arsenal must be thinking like, damn, we just keep letting these gems go. And then there was a goal scored by Mbwana Samatta that was ruled out by VAR. Liverpool's second goal was scored by Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain again. That was one of the best goals I've seen in a while. And as my boy Ryan LFC said, if it was Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo who scored that goal, they would have made a big headline about it. It was a Roberto Firmino pass, and Chamberlain just hit it with the outside of his right boot into the V, and it was just exquisite. So as a lover of football, it's good to see Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain playing at his best. So with Liverpool already 2-0 up, they scored a third in the 77th minute through Sadio Mane, who was brilliantly set up by Mohamed Salah. There was some nice build-up play to that goal, and Salah provided his fellow African with that goal. So it's nice to see these two linking up after, the thing that they had earlier this season. And then Liverpool's fourth goal was scored by Mohamed Salah, set up by, guess who? Sadio Mane. One of the only blemishes to this Liverpool performance is that they allowed Genk to score a consolation goal in the 88th minute. With this win, the current holders go second in the table on 6 points. As for Genk, they are glued at the bottom of the table on 1 point. Before I move on to the next fixture, I must commend Liverpool for pulling off this away win. You guys know that they haven't been traveling well in the Champions League group phase. They lost their first away game against Napoli and lost all 3 away group matches last season, still went on to win the competition. Also in this game, there was no Trent Alexander-Arnold. Dejan Lovren slotted in for Joel Matip, and there was Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain in the middle. So it was a more attacking approach taken by Jurgen Klopp, and it worked like a charm. So will we see him implement this more creative midfield going forward, guys? I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe he will if Trent Alexander-Arnold does not feature. So with the whole say no to racism thing going on in UEFA and the no space for racism in the Premier League and all of that, Divock Origi came under some racial abuse. There was allegedly a banner up depicting Divock Origi with a very large schlong. And apparently Liverpool isn't taking it lightly at all. They are taking this thing very, very seriously. But when you think about it, oh man, the things that you're supposed to take very, very serious, you're not, but then you're gonna, but then again, why are you bringing a banner showing a black man with a large schlong? That's like, oh man, I don't even need to go into this anymore. But guys, UEFA, where the black referees? UEFA, where the black linesmen? You want to say no to racism, but I don't see you actually including black people in the thing. The players are there, but where are the black officials? We should start a campaign against UEFA and the Premier League saying, where are the black officials? Maybe a lot of other leagues as well. Let's take a stand. So let's move on to the next fixture, which was a thriller between Red Bull Salzburg and Napoli. This game ended 3-2 in favor of the Italian team. Before this game, Red Bull Salzburg had already scored 9 goals in 2 games, so we knew that we were gonna get a lot of goals in this one. Erling Haaland scored in the 9th minute, but that goal was chalked off by VAR. Rightfully too. And then Napoli scored the first real goal of the game in the 17th minute when Dries Mertens got on the end of a brilliant ball and he did the rest. With that goal, the Belgian equaled the great Diego Maradonna's goal tally for Napoli, which is 116. After going behind, Red Bull Salzburg was seemingly on the prowl. Haaland had a close range shot saved by the head of Merit, and after that another exquisite strike brilliantly saved by the goalkeeper Merit. The equalizer then came when the menacing Korean Hwang Hee-chan was taken down in the box by Melkute. Up stepped the left-footed Erling Haaland to beat Merit to make it 1-1. But Napoli would take the lead again in the 64th minute when Melkute, who was making amends for his earlier blunder, set up Dries Mertens for his 117th goal for Napoli, which put him ahead of the great Diego Maradona and 4 short of their all-time leading goal scorer Marek Hamšík. With the game in full swing, Red Bull would equalize 8 minutes later when a brilliant crossing by Junozovic was headed in by Erling Haaland. With that strike, Haaland would become the youngest player to score 6 goals in his first 3 Champions League appearances. With his earlier strike, which he scored from the penalty spot, he also became the second youngest player to score a hat-trick in the Champions League, the youngest being Bojan for Barcelona back in 2008. With Red Bull Salzburg scoring that brilliant equalizer, you know what they always say, you're most vulnerable after you score, and that is exactly what happened when they conceded their 3rd goal in the 73rd minute, scored by the substitute Lorenzo Insigne, who seemingly had a point to prove. Like, when you really think about it, why was Insigne on the bench? Napoli held on for the 3-2 win, and this was actually the first time they had scored 3 goals on the road in the Champions League. With that win, Napoli stay on top of the table on 7 points. As for Red Bull Salzburg, they are currently 3rd on 3 points and have the look of a typical Europa League team. Well, if they continue playing like this, they would fancy winning that trophy. So let's move on to Group G, where Benfica played host to Olympique Lyon and RB Leipzig played host to Zenit. In the match between Benfica and Lyon, the Eagles came out 2-1 victors. Benfica scored in the 4th minute through Rafa Silva after he got on the end of a ball that wasn't really well defended. And then Lyon equalized in the 70th minute through Memphis Depay. With more shots on goal, with more of the possession, more passes completed, Lyon were seemingly in charge of this game, and Rudy Garcia, taking charge of his first Champions League game as a Lyon manager, would have definitely settled for 1 point. But the Portuguese-born goalkeeper Anthony Lopez had other ideas. I'm not saying that he intentionally did it because he's from Portugal, playing a Portuguese team in Portugal, but he fucked up. Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking, man? You gotta distribute the ball way better than that. You had other options and you chose to throw it straight to a Benfica player who dispatched it brilliantly into the back of the net, which resulted in Benfica ultimately grabbing all 3 points. And that winner, which was scored by Pizzi, was his first ever Champions League goal in his 34th appearance, and it was a gift. So for Olympique Lyon, who recently sacked their boss Silvinho, are still 3rd in the group on 4 points. They're still fighting for 2nd. or even first. It's very, very close in this group. As for Benfica, who picked up their first points of this season's Champions League, are still at the bottom of the table on 3 points. Which brings us to the next game between RB Leipzig and Zenit St. Petersburg. In this match, the home team RB Leipzig came out 2-1 victors, but they had to fight for it. It was a come-from-behind victory, which included 3 brilliant goals. When I say brilliant, the first goal was scored by the Zenit St. Petersburg centre-half Yaroslav Rakitsky. It was a brilliant left-footed strike from way out that beat LOSC to find the back of the net. The second goal was scored in the 49th minute by Konrad Laimer, who was teasing to score for quite a while. And when I say teasing, he did hit the crossbar in the first minute of the game, so it was well deserved. RB Leipzig's winner came 10 minutes later from a brilliant strike by Marcel Sabitzer. And when I say brilliant, maybe I should have used the word exquisite, because that was exquisite. It was just damn awesome. The Brazilian forward Matheus Cunha did have a few good chances to score, which he fluffed, but he definitely has the look of a very, very good player with a lot of potential. So remember the name, Matheus Cunha. It was also disappointing not to see Artem Dzyuba on the score sheet, because whenever he's playing for Russia and his club Zenit St. Petersburg, he simply scores for fun. So with this win, RB Leipzig stay on top of the group on 6 points. As for Zenit St. Petersburg, they are still second on 4 points. This group is very, 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 very close. Remember, I call this group the group of life. We don't know who's gonna come through from this group. It can be any team. So let's move on to the final group, Group H. As for the Ajax versus Chelsea game, a match that I was actually looking forward to, it kind of left me in disappointment. A 1-0 win for Chelsea on the road. I was expecting more from Ajax, but Chelsea in the end really deserved the win. You gotta give Frank Lampard the credit here, because he did some genius things in this game. But these two teams are actually very, very similar, implementing youth mixed with experience. They both have 2 very inexperienced coaches, one more inexperienced than the other in Frank Lampard. But Erik ten Hag is still very much in his early stages of his coaching career. When I say early stages, you know what I mean. He hasn't really taken charge of a lot of teams. But Chelsea had a few early chances. Mason Mount had his shot brilliantly saved by Onana, and Callum Hudson-Odoi put his shot wide. Quincy Promes did score for Ajax in the 35th minute, but his goal was ruled out by VAR. Rightfully so. And that's why it's not good to celebrate when VAR is around. If you score and you know you might be offside or there might be some doubt, just wait on VAR to determine if it was a goal or not a goal before you celebrate. Simple. But that's what the game has come to. It has taken a lot of joy out of the game, but it's whatever. Edson Alvarez also came close to scoring when his header brushed off the post. But the turning point in the game came when Frank Lampard brought on Christian Pulisic and Michy Batshuayi, 2 men who has been linking up brilliantly off the bench. And some may argue, do these players deserve to start for Chelsea? And you know what I'm gonna say? Maybe their role is currently off the bench. Think about it. You might start them and they don't play well, so just keep implementing this current strategy if Chelsea keep on winning. Michy Batshuayi and Christian Pulisic were right into the thick of things. Pulisic had a shot blocked, the rebound fell nicely to Batshuayi, but he laid back too much and put it over the crossbar. But the chance would come again in the 85th minute when a brilliant cross by Christian Pulisic was well dummied by Marcos Alonso. It fell nicely to Batshuayi, who did the rest. He did lean back a bit for that one, but it ended up hitting the crossbar and finding the back of the net. Ajax had no reply, a clean sheet for Chelsea, big 3-point for Chelsea. It seems like these guys are really heating up. As for Ajax, they need to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to beat Chelsea in the return leg, which will come on match day 4. But some may fancy Ajax to do better on the road. They have been traveling well in the last year. With this loss, Ajax are still on top of the group on 6 points with a better goal difference than Chelsea, who are second in the group also on 6 points. As for the other game between Lille and Valencia, that one ended in a 1-1 draw. This was only the second game that was played on matchday 3 that ended in a draw. The other being the Shakhtar Donetsk versus Dinamo 2-2 draw. This was a game where the home team Lille dominated possession and had so many shots at goal but could only score 1. So they have to blame themselves for only picking up 1 point from this game. I mean, Lille had 27 shots at goal, only 6 on target, 1 finding the back of the net. Valencia, 6 shots at goal, 3 on target, 1 finding the back of the net. Lille's Turkish forward Yazici did hit the crossbar early on in the game, but it would be Denis Cheryshev who would draw first blood in this game for Valencia. After going behind, Galtier had to do something and he brought on 2 strikers in Jonathan Ikone and Loic Remy. And I was trying to understand why Ikone and Bamba didn't start this game. But I don't think Galtier would make the same mistake going forward, because when Ikone was introduced into the game, he just injected life into Lille's attack. Loic Remy had a brilliant chance to equalize, which he put wide, and then Valencia's French defender Diakabi got sent off. With Valencia down to 10 men, this was a brilliant opportunity for Lille to equalize, and they did so very late in the game through Jonathan Ikone. It was a brilliant goal. The ball was passed to him and he did a brilliant skill move to get the ball onto his weaker right foot, and he just blasted it past Jasper Cillessen in goal. So with this very lucky draw, Valencia are currently third in the group on 4 points. As for Lille, who has been lackluster so far in the Champions League, are currently bottom of the group on 1 point, and that's what you get for selling all your best players. So guys, that brings you to an end of my match day 3 recap. If you're new around here, consider hitting the subscribe button, smash the thumbs up button, and in the comment section down below, please shed some more light on these games, because I couldn't watch all of these games in full. Guys, I've been putting in a lot of work to get these Champions League recap videos out, but I don't mind. You have to do the hard work before it gets a bit easier in the knockouts. I always say that. It's a lesson for each and every one of you guys out there. Never give up. It gets easier. So guys, I'm your boy Dominic Rich. Thanks for watching this video again. Until next time, peace out. Rich Squad. Woo.